What is up, YouTube? Welcome back, Aeneas here, and today we are going to talk about the second to last deck in the top 5 new brews for Dominaria United, and boy do I have a spicy one for you today. So this deck is Legendary Esper Relic deck, or just Esper Relic deck, and wow, this is such a cool looking deck. I can't wait to try this out on the ladder. Basically, the point of this deck, or what this deck's operating on, is this artifact here, the Relic of Legends, and particularly we care about this little line here at the bottom where it says, tap an untapped legendary creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. And what's so special about this keyword? Well, not only does this say tap an untapped legendary creature, it doesn't say it can't have summoning sickness. It doesn't require you to tap the Relic of Legends or anything like that. So you can just keep tapping all your legendaries and get a ton of mana. And besides that, this is an artifact, so it comes in, it already gives you a mana of any color. So potentially, if you have a legendary creature out and you play this, then you're going to get immediately 2 mana back on that turn, 1 for your legendary creature and 1 for your relic. So that's really powerful. And on top of that, if you untap, you are going to just have a ton of mana left over. So this gives a potentially very strong ramp engine in the right deck. And yeah, so I've tried to put together kind of an interesting legendary deck. And this one is in Esper colors. You could possibly do it in different colors, but I noticed that most of the legendary creatures who were cheap are in the Esper colors, and so I picked ones that I think synergize the best with this type of deck. As more sets come out, this might change. We might do a similar type deck in different colors, or switch up the finishers at the end. But yeah, let's go into the deck. So I'm really excited about this one. Alright, so there were actually quite a few choices for the creatures to put in this, the legendary creatures. So I had to just pick the ones I think would be really good, that would work well with this deck, and give you a lot of good value. So some of the key ones, the ones I put the 3 of, are this one, the Dendrick, the Pious Apprentice. So this is just a pretty solid creature, 2 mana, 2/3, lifelink, blocks some graveyard shenanigans, but that part's not a big deal. But the lifelink is good for stabilizing. It's 2/3, so it's got a decent body, and it also has the disturb effect, so you can cast this later in the game for 4 mana as another creature, another blocker, with another actually pretty relevant effect on that creature. So yeah, just a solid card that will trade with your opponent's creatures and do what we want to do for the legend effect. Aside from that, I've put in 1 copy of Wrath. Because these are all legendary creatures, you know, I don't want to put too many of the same one, so that's why I have only 3 of this Dendrick, and 1 of Wrath because I think his effect is pretty good, but not super great, and requires a bit more setup to be very good. So what is he? He's 2 mana for a 1/3, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. If you do, draw a card. And then also he has a 3 and 2 whites to pump your creatures for +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. So pretty good. I kind of need to see how he plays out to know if I want to have more of him in the deck. Maybe it's going to work out where like they're always surviving and you're getting this draw effect pretty consistently, and if that's the case, then yeah, you'll probably want 2 or 3 instead of just the 1. But as it is, I feel like it's not that likely you're going to get that effect off, so that's why I only have the 1 copy in here. So besides that, I have 3 of the new cards. Sten, the Paranoid Partisan. So again, a 2 mana creature, blue-white, and when it enters the battlefield, you choose a card type that's not creature or land, and cards or spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. So in this deck, most likely you're going to pick sorcery or instant. You could also potentially pick Planeswalker, maybe even artifact. I guess it just really depends what your hand looks like, but most likely sorcery or instant, because of the play pattern that we're trying to set up. Alright, so yeah, and then I guess there's another effect on that guy. You can blink him out for 3 mana so that if your opponent tries to kill him, you can save him. Or if you picked like Planeswalker and then later you're like, man, I wish I picked sorcery, then you can blink him out and pick a new thing to discount with that. So pretty good, pretty solid. The body's not as great as the other cards, but we mainly want him for that discount effect. Alright, the other 2 drops, I've included one reality chip. This is an 0/4, so it's a pretty good blocker. It can actually attack, which is relevant for our connive triggers from some of our other creatures. And it lets you look at the top card of your library, and if you equip it to a creature with the reconfigure ability, then you actually get to play from the top of your library. So I'm thinking we kind of get off the combo we're trying to set up, and then you can maybe equip him mid to late game and start getting some value off it if it survives. So yeah, got some good upside, a decent body for blocking early game, that kind of thing, so it does what we need. So yeah, so that's just kind of a pretty solid, spicy one-of include. And then the other one-of include is the Raven Man. So this card wants you to make your opponent discard or have you discard, and this deck doesn't have that much discarding. It does have Rafine and it does have Toulouse, so there is a little bit of synergy with that. But other than that, I mean, it's a 2-mana legendary that in the late game you can start making your opponent discard cards, and we have ways to use abilities, like we have mana sinks, so definitely not that bad to be able to activate that ability mid to late game. So yeah, just another solid spicy one-of. If it performs really well, you know, maybe we can tweak the deck up and change it up a little bit. As of right now, just a one-of. Alright, and the other creatures are Rafine, 3 mana, gives us that conniving, which is proven to be really solid. It's a good body for blocking, it's a legendary. Pretty much enough said about that one. And Toulouse is also another legendary that's pretty solid. Comes in, it connives, everything you discard you get to get back later. And again, it's a legendary. So that's kind of the important thing in the deck. Alright, and then we've got some Planeswalkers. I've got a Teferi, which normally was just kind of a medium Planeswalker, because you would get to like untap a creature in a land and maybe have a blocker, maybe have 1 or 2 lands up to do something. So just kind of so-so, has a draw ability. But in this deck, as you're going to see, his +1 is actually going to give you like 3 mana back potentially. So it's pretty strong effect in this deck, and it might be worth having more than just one of him. But for now, we just got the one. And then Wandering Emperor, also another solid Planeswalker. Yeah, that's good for removal, good for stabilizing, that kind of stuff. And both these are legendaries, so you're going to see that it's helpful for the deck synergy as well. Alright, so now what is this combo that we're trying to get off? What is this effect that we want to do with the deck? Well, this card here, the Relic of Legends, it's a 3 mana rock that gives you 1 mana of any color when you play it, and it lets you tap your legends. So potentially this is what you want to kind of set up. Turn 2, you play one of your legendary creatures, so maybe your Dendrick here, and then turn 3 you play your your Relic of Legends, and once it gets on the board, you now have 2 mana up, right? You have 1 for your Dendrick and 1 for your Relic. So you can potentially hold up a counter spell here, like Make Disappear, or Fateful Absence, or if there's a small creature or something, or you can exile a card from your hand, you can cast this. So you've got mana up to be able to do something immediately after playing that, which is really nice. Even this one, Urtai Scorn, can potentially be played because if they play 2 spells, it's 2 mana. Or if your first legendary creature is Sten and you picked instant, then this is going to be 2 mana. So you can cast this for 2 mana as well. So that's kind of the idea. Get your legendary, get your relic down. You've now got some mana up to protect yourself. And then hopefully you can still untap on the next turn and do some big play that is going to make you just win the game. Alright, and if all of that fails, let's say, if you get your creature and your relic, you don't have any spells in hand, then the backup plan is creature, relic, you've got 2 mana up again, play another creature, right? So now you've just double spelled in the turn, basically. Got a free relic, basically. And setting you up for the next turn as well to have another big play on the next turn. So still really solid plays either way, so you're not feeling bad about not getting off the protection combo kind of thing. Alright, and then, if you have that protection up, or if they're having to deal with your creatures, next turn you're going to untap and you're going to have like 5 to 6, let's see, you'd be on 3 plus 2 plus 4, yeah, potentially up to 6 mana the next turn, which is really solid. So if you've got 5 or 6 mana, then that's when you're going to want to cast one of your big sorcery spells. So we got Invoke Despair, which is 5 mana, you make them sack a bunch of stuff, and you draw a bunch of cards, and they lose a bunch of life. So you can refill your hand, do it all over again. So really solid spell. And normally the hard part is the casting cost. It's 4 black, right? But the cool thing about this Relic of Legends is it says that you tap a legendary for a mana of any color. So you can get your 4 blacks really easily by tapping your creatures with this. And also the relic gives you any color, so you can also get a black with that. So it's going to be easy to get your 4 black pips when you got the combo down. Yeah, and by that point, if you're untapping with this, you're probably already winning at that point. And the other sorcery we got, just to kind of draw us into our invokes, is this Silver Scrutiny. So, like I said, if you're untapping with 6 mana, you're playing this, you're drawing 4 cards. That's pretty massive. Potentially, you could fill the board a little bit more and wait a little bit more and get, like 6 cards out of this, something like that. So, yeah, just insane mana engines with this Relic of Legends. So really, really cool combos that you can do with that. And it doesn't have a restriction that you can only do this as a sorcery. So that's why we got like the Wandering Emperor, we got all these instants. So you can just play more creatures and just keep using them as mana and do this repeat on each turn because they can't do anything. So yeah, really, really sweet. Really looks cool. It's going to need a lot of tinkering, a lot of testing, adjusting the numbers, stuff like that, but definitely seems like there's some great potential here, some massive plays that you can make, some massive swings where just like you get it down turn 3 and if they don't remove it immediately, you just win the game, basically. So really, really sick, really cool looking, but yeah. So besides that, the only things to mention are some of the mana-based things. So I mentioned that there's not a whole lot of discard in this deck for the Raven Man, but we do have the channel lands, which technically do discard. So that's still a combo there. If you got the Raven Man and you do some channel effect, it's going to trigger and you're going to get a bird, that kind of thing. So that's still really cool. Just kind of a synergy that is unintentional there. And Plaza of, also we got Rafine's Tower, which is cycling. So same thing, that's a discard. Raven Man gets trigger off that. So yep. And then the cool new land that was in the set is the Plaza of Heroes. This works super well with our deck. It's normally a colorless mana, but if you are casting a legend spell, it can cast any color to cast that legend spell. And pretty much, at least half the deck is legend. We got the legendary lands, like Odawara, Takanuma, so all these. So those count as legends. We've got the Meat Hook Massacre is a legendary enchantment. I already mentioned all the legendary creatures we got, all the Planeswalkers, they're all legendary, so all of those we can cast with this card. And once we get our creatures down and we got the relic down, then all the creatures are giving you any color mana anyway, so that doesn't matter. And the other part of this card, it says that it can also tap for 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. So if you've got this down and you've got Otawara down, then this is always going to be a blue mana no matter what, because this is a legendary land. Or if you got this down and used Meathook Massacre, then this is always going to tap for at least black mana because you've got a legendary enchantment down. Same thing for all the creatures. So you get one of the creatures down, now you've got almost any color you want on this land. So this is going to be pretty much free mana of any color that we want because of that effect. And it doesn't stop there. This land does even more than that. It has ability to protect one of your legendary creatures. So it can give, if you pay 3 mana, tap this and exile the land. So you lose the land, but if you're in a pinch, then you're going to do it, right? And it protects a legendary creature by giving it hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Oh, okay, so maybe you have like a massive creature on board because of your Rafine, or you have a lot of Toulouse cards and they're trying to exile it or something like that. Yeah, then you can sack this land, give it hexproof and indestructible, and say, nope, you're not doing that. I'm getting my value out of my card. So really cool. So many synergies in this deck. Yeah, it just really looks awesome. We'll have to see if these Planeswalkers are the right fit, or maybe we just want more instants, because the more creatures we cast, the more instants we could potentially play in the next turn, even when they have summoning sickness. So yeah, it could be that we just want to switch those out for more instants or something like that. But really sweet looking. Can't wait to try this out. I'm so stoked for this one, to be honest. This is probably the first one I'm going to try out because it just seems super legit, super sweet. Invoke was already really cool, but just having this whole combo package thing seems so cool. But yeah, that'll be it for this video, guys. Just tell me what you think about the deck. Did I miss any cards that should be in it? Do you think it's not going to work out as well as I think it's going to? Maybe you got some other suggestions. Leave some in the comments or on Twitter, and until next time, see ya.